now lie alone in bed. Only the cold futon envelops my shabby, naked body. My hopes are shattered, and my expectations have become pitiful knives piercing me. What on earth was all this preparation for? This naked body, this pious heart, this all-night wait. Was it all for nothing? The light outside the window is already shining brightly. My room is no longer a sacred space, but a cold reality left only with the remains of a failed wait. What should I do now? With this scorching naked body, with this broken heart. How am I supposed to get through today? I'm more saddened by the fact that my pure passion has been so cruelly trampled on than by the game not releasing. Please, give me an answer. Why? Why didn't you release it?
I thought it was a pretty strange fetish, but I was curious and looked into squid reproduction, and it turns out they are oviparous. For example, the big fin reef squid lays about 5,000 eggs in one spawning. They really do lay eggs like crazy. Octopuses lay even more, apparently hundreds of thousands at a time. If you tried to render that, the number of objects would be insane and the game would probably crash every time.
Considering that the Inklings and Octolings have something resembling a belly button, and that the booklet for the Splatoon soundtrack contains a line saying, "I want to use Squid Squad's music for prenatal education," according to Pixiv Encyclopedia, it's likely they are viviparous and can become pregnant and give birth just like humans. In other words, they can have big bellies.
I work in the field of biology, and after seeing the comments below about the idea of inkling viviparous reproduction, my thoughts have been greatly stimulated, so I can wait for the update a little longer. By the way, based on my current thinking, the evolution from oviparous to viviparous would take far more than 10,000 years, so the oviparous reproduction theory is the most likely. What looks like a navel is probably the yolk stalk.
It's possible that humans messed something up 10,000 years ago, causing squids, octopuses, and other marine life to evolve at an incredibly rapid pace. Did they dump some kind of chemical or monolith into the ocean? I'd love to see them delve deeper into the world in Raiders. I'm also looking forward to seeing Shiver and Fry in Inkling Massage DX.
Regarding the speed of evolution, it is likely best not to apply real-world standards, given the established lore that the collective thoughts of humanity, imprinted upon the liquid crystals of Alterna, permeated the marine life. This sparked within them the shared desire to reach the surface, thereby triggering rapid evolution, Alterna log. In other words, rather than undergoing natural selection-driven evolution, it is plausible that they are evolving and developing along the same path as humanity in the past. A process driven by the influence of human thoughts, absorbed from Alterna's liquid crystals. This idea explains their incredible evolutionary speed, such as their expansion onto land and the development of civilization, and it's entirely possible that they have developed viviparity. In short, pregnant belly inkling girls are real. Or at least, I really hope they are.
But wait a minute. Evolution over 10,000 years is only enough to cause a mammoth to lose its fur and become an elephant. Even if such an astonishing speed of evolution existed, a rapid shift in reproduction, which is a major biological turning point, would be too risky for a living organism. Furthermore, since samanids, which are also beginning to move onto land, are still oviparous, isn't it premature to conclude that Inklings and Octolings are viviparous? Admittedly, I feel a deep interest in and strong attraction to impregnating sex. But that is a fetish rooted in mammalian biology, and I would say that we should find the unique erotic appeal of marine life. For example, if we assume oviparity, we can find two kinds of appeal: the thrill of impregnation and the pleasure of being splattered with roe. In the other hand, if we assume oviparity, they could lay soft, spiral-shaped eggs that don't damage the cloaca like shark eggs, and use them as makeshift dildos. Given that Inklings and Octolings have evolved, shouldn't we also evolve our sexual preferences alongside them?
That's a great point. The most crucial thing is to pursue the unique charm of marine life rather than simply imitating humans or mammals. But even so, I'd like to say this. While salmonids may venture onto land, their primary habitat is the ocean, a stark contrast to Inklings and Octolings, which dissolve in water. It's possible salmonids maintain oviparity because they haven't needed to evolve their reproductive methods. Furthermore, octarians reproduce not only sexually, but also asexually, with detached limbs developing into independent individuals. In other words, even reproductive traits undergo bold evolution in that world. If emotions influence evolution, perhaps the carefree nature of Inklings leads to high-risk evolutionary changes in reproductive methods. That being said, I believe oviparous, oviviparous, and viviparous all have their own charms and erotic appeal. However, what truly arouses me the most is non-human eroticism that stems from ecological analysis that I can confidently assert to be accurate. For the sake of my future masturbatory endeavors, I want to settle the matter of Inkling and Octoling reproductive biology once and for all, right here and now.
That spirit is truly manly. Let's see this through, until we reach a definitive conclusion. As a fundamental premise, Inklings and Octolings have male and female sexes, girls and boys. Since the producer mashup from Despair has an entry mentioning parents, let us establish that sexual reproduction definitely exists within their species. With that established, I have considered their methods of reproduction from a cultural perspective. First of all, many of the marine creatures that appear in the series wear clothes. At the root of human clothing culture lies the functionality of protection against the cold and heat for a species whose body hair has atrophied. Now, do the marine creatures that appear in the series wear clothes for functionality? The jellyfish that appear frequently in the series have their lower bodies completely exposed, and non-anthropomorphized squids and octopuses live completely naked. From this observation, it can be hypothesized that the marine creatures ventured into land without having first evolved into warm-blooded animals. If we assume that these marine creatures are cold-blooded, it would explain why characters in areas where cold temperatures are expected, such as Alterna and the deep-sea metro, wear various outfits ranging from short-sleeved shirts to varsity jackets. So, if we accept the premise that they are cold-blooded, they don't generate body heat through metabolism, does that imply a difference in their reproductive methods? The conclusion is that there is no record of viviparous cold-blooded animals existing throughout the hundreds of millions of years of Earth's history. However, we cannot entirely rule out the possibility that Inklings and Octolings, during the process of their explosive evolution, somehow developed viviparity despite remaining as cold-blooded animals. However, I would like to take this opportunity to assert that one possibility exists, that the pussies of Inkling and Octoling girls are pleasantly cool to the touch.
Yeah? The level of discourse here is surprisingly high. Last time it was a poet, this time scientists.
It's really starting to become a true squid research lab.
I was truly impressed by your analysis from the perspective of clothing culture. You did an excellent job explaining how despite their physique, the texture of their skin, and tendency to only wear light clothing or being completely nude, they can function without issue, even in cold environments. However, I still have doubts about them being cold-blooded animals. Official texts and illustrations depict them sweating when they go to hot places or when their bodies heat up during battle, and their all-chill emote shows them shivering. It's clear that they have thermoregulatory mechanisms similar to that of warm-blooded animals. But that doesn't mean that squid vaginas are warm and cozy. Considering their high mobility, even in cold climates, their lack of body hair, combined with exposed mucous membranes, and their evolutionary origins as marine creatures, I propose this hypothesis. Inklings and Octolings are warm-blooded animals, but their baseline body temperature is cool. Regarding their reproductive biology, among extant shark species, which are generally cold-blooded, there are instances where the yolk sac has evolved to form a placenta. The fact that Inklings and Octolings have evolved their fins and funnels to resemble human ears suggests that their reproductive organs may have also evolved to mimic humans, not as homologous structures, but rather as analogous structures. In other words, there's a high probability that an Inkling girl's pussy is cool, slimy, and squishy, which would be very arousing for me. As an aside, their mouths are depicted as being ink-colored, and there are illustrations of them flowing colored saliva. This means that their pussies and vaginal fluids may also be ink-colored. During a blowjob or sex, your penis might get covered in their ink, and if you come inside them, the semen and vaginal fluids might create beautiful patterns like a turf war. If so, that would be very erotic. What do you all think after reading this discussion? Let's discuss Inkling and Octoling sex.
I overlooked some emotes and official statements. Thank you very much for pointing them out. Based on that, I have reorganized my thoughts in the body temperature and reproduction of Inklings and Octolings below. Regarding sweat, if we consider the bodily fluid that Inklings and Octolings secrete in response to stress and for the purpose of heat dissipation to be sweat, then it is highly likely that they have sweat glands, eccrine glands and apocrine glands. Eccrine glands are involved in thermoregulation and heat dissipation, while apocrine glands are involved in pheromone secretion in areas such as the armpits and genitals. As a result, it is possible that Inklings and Octolings are capable of enjoying erotic sense similar to that of humans. Regarding shivering to raise body temperature when it is cold is called shivering thermogenesis. The mechanism of shivering thermogenesis involves the simultaneous contraction of both agonist and antagonist muscles, which works inside the body, converting energy into heat. Shivering thermogenesis is an ability possessed only by homeothermic animals, so the fact that Inklings and Octolings possess this ability suggests that it is highly probable that they are warm-blooded animals. Furthermore, based on the muscular function described above, it can be inferred that Inklings and Octolings possess an emboskeleton. The skeleton likely evolved from their cartilage. As an aside, I believe that invertebrates such as jellyfish and isopods may utilize non-shivering thermogenesis. I will omit a detailed explanation here, but this is a method of generating heat using mitochondria without shivering, and is found in other cold-blooded marine organisms, such as Pacific bluefin tuna. If you are interested, please feel free to research this further. Do Inklings and Octolings have cool and squishy pussies? This time, let's consider the possibility that Inklings and Octolings are warm-blooded animals with low body temperatures, making them cool and squishy. The body temperature of typical highly mobile warm-blooded animals is around 37 degrees Celsius, but this cannot be called cool and squishy. So, did highly mobile warm-blooded animals with low basal body temperatures ever exist? Some dinosaur species in the past had a body temperature of around 26 degrees Celsius due to incomplete homeothermy. If Inklings and Octolings have a similar mechanism, a cool body temperature is biologically possible. If you are interested, please search for dinosaur homeothermy theory. Regarding impregnation sex, looking at the evolutionary diagrams from the Squid Research Lab, it is thought that the mantle cavity, cloaca, which is part of the squid's reproductive organs, moved to the lower abdomen, the position equivalent to the pussy. Just as the fins evolved into ears and the mouth moved to the front of the face, it is highly likely that the mantle cavity was also positioned in the lower abdomen, pushing up the position of the mouth. Regarding functionality, it's still within the realm of imagination at this point, but it's safe to assume there's a high probability that they reproduce using their vaginas. Conclusion: it's biologically plausible that Inkling and Octoling girls have cool and squishy pussies. Based on this consideration, I've decided to try Inkling Massage DX with an unheated Ola hole. Until the game's release, I'll discuss with my little buddy whether to use a marine life-themed Ola hole or an Inkling belly Ola hole, and look forward to the wait.
Thank you for your thoughtful and easy-to-understand comments. Thanks to you, I've been able to reach a conclusion that I can accept, at least for now. Regarding the initial point of discussion, their method of reproduction, based on the statement that they want to use squids plots music for prenatal education, I believe they are either oviviparous or viviparous. As for the number of offspring, which was a concern due to the in-game object count, I believe they are not the high birth rate, early death type like modern squids and octopuses, but rather the low birth rate, late death type like humans, so I don't think there's a problem. This is because they have built a human-like society, and only a few characters have siblings mentioned in the lore. However, there is also a piece of lore that states Machine the Herring, the guitarist of High Tide Era, is the youngest of 247 siblings, so it is possible that Inklings and Octolings are actually prolific. Male cephalopods have one specially shaped arm among their many arms. This is called the reproductive arm, and it is used to transfer spermatophores, sacs containing sperm, to females. However, the limbs and head tentacles of the Inkling and Octoling boys do not show any characteristics of a reproductive arm. Furthermore, it's unlikely that they, living on land, would transfer sperm externally. In other words, the only explanation is that they have vaginas and penises like humans and transfer sperm through sex. Sex is confirmed. The theory that Inklings and Octolings are cool, warm-blooded animals was something I came up with on the spur of the moment to pursue the dream of a non-human, cool, squishy creature while combining the best aspects of both warm-blooded and cold-blooded animal theories. However, after learning about the theory that dinosaurs' homothermy was incomplete, I became more confident in the theory that Inklings and Octolings are cool, warm-blooded animals. No matter how rapidly they evolved, it's highly possible that the homothermy they developed in just over 10,000 years is as incomplete as that of dinosaurs. To summarize, the current conclusion is that Inklings and Octolings are oviviparous or viviparous, are cool-blooded animals, and reproduce through sex like humans. In other words, their vaginas are cool and squishy, which is very convenient for me as I like cool, non-human type anaholes. As a side note, when enjoying a tentacle job in Inkling Massage DX, you might be able to experience the cool, smooth, and squishy tentacle job feeling by using a bag filled with water to sandwich your cock.
This thread is getting a bit crazy, because there is so little new content.
I'm sorry if I come across as a troll, but I also feel that it was good that the release was delayed, because it allowed us to have this kind of discussion.
I think we had a very productive discussion, so I would really like the creator to read the whole thing.